I will not be checking out with this. There has been a lot of tempting new makeup releases and I can't buy them all. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you all of the new products that I almost bought but didn't for one reason or another. Just to warn you, there is going to be a lot of eyeshadow palettes in this video because for some reason everyone thought that the holiday season is the best time to launch eyeshadow palette. Blend Bunny is a brand that I have been keeping my eyes on. There isn't too many eyeshadow palettes from their brands that I am intrigued to purchase, but I am interested in their formula and their vibe in general. I've heard a lot of good things about their eyeshadows and I want to try more indie brands, so the doors aren't closed when it comes to Blend Bunny. They recently launched their Rotten collab with an influencer named Mai. It's either Mai or May. I believe it's Mai, so hopefully I didn't pronounce it incorrectly. Her videos bring me a lot of inspiration and reminds me of why I started playing with makeup in the first place. So I just wanted to take a moment to give her flowers, but this collection in general also is just a great reflection of her creative, artistic makeup style. It is inspired by mold, and the packaging on the front is a picture of rotten fruit, which I think is so cool because in a way it's almost abstract. You can't really tell it's rotten fruit until someone tells you. So I was very excited to see what the inside of the palette was going to look like, but I'm not gonna lie, as much as I love her as a creator and the actual packaging and concept itself, I wasn't very excited about the color story because it doesn't personally fit within my preferences. Mainly because it has a lot of reds and bright oranges on it, specifically very saturated reds and oranges, which makes a good chunk of the palette unusable for me. I don't usually wear red eyeshadow, they tend to irritate my eyes, and bright saturated oranges aren't my favorite colors either, so I'm gonna have to take a pass just for the sake of the color story. But they also launched in the collection a topper eyeshadow palette, which I'm kind of interested in and I might consider buying. I do love a good shimmery topper, so if there's anything else on the website I want to buy, or if I'm ready to decide to review Blend Bunny, then I'll probably buy the topper eyeshadow palette with something else on the website that I'm interested in. As of right now though, I am going to pass on the eyeshadow palette. And in case you haven't heard, Sephora is having their Rouge Savings Event, or Sephora Holiday Savings Event, starting at the end of October, specifically October 31st. So if you're a Rouge member, you get 20% off, VIB 15%, and Insider 10%. I know a lot of you might not shop sales because it encourages you to over purchase. For me, I like to leverage sales as a way to push off buying something. So currently I'm in the process of curating my wish list, deciding what I want to buy, what I don't want to buy, and doing a little bit of research on the product so I get a better idea of what's worth making content about and if the products will fit in my preferences. But so far I haven't really been impressed with a lot of the holiday launches, like the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette, specifically the Ethereal Natures palette that is already launched for the holiday season. I think a lot of people really like this palette because it has that pop of green, but for me it was very easy to say no to because a lot of the matte shades specifically look like they would mostly be a highlight shade on my eyes and barely show up, so I'm not gonna buy a palette that mainly has light shades in it. I like palettes that have more depth, and I get that it's an ethereal eye, so it's not supposed to be super smoky, but even last year's palette was a lot smokier than this year's palette. I'm kind of confused because I do feel like the color story is more of a spring color story, and if you block out the one sparkly green in this palette, it kind of looks like a neutral bland palette, and nothing about this feels special for me. I do have the first Ethereal Eyes palette. I like it, I get use out of it, and I have a good idea of the formula because of that palette. I do not need to try this palette to then figure out that the shadows are too light for my skin tone. So I'm just not gonna waste my time and we can just move on. If you're still watching and you like these types of videos, then give it a thumbs up so that I know you want to see more. For those of you who might have skipped my last few videos, videos, I do want to remind you that I started a makeup refresh series, and the whole point of this series is to help you revive your love for beauty and remind you of the products you already own before shopping this holiday season. So if you need something to watch while you're doing your makeup, I will link the playlist down below and somewhere around here. I highly recommend watching it, especially if you just want to make better purchasing decisions. It allows you to go through what you already have and be mindful of what you're already using before accidentally buying something very similar to what you already own. Let's move on to the new Pat McGrath palette, which I have so many mixed feelings about. I don't feel very confident in my decision to say no to this, but I should trust my gut because it's not the most perfect color story. I know Pat McGrath has been getting a lot of criticism about the fact that her new launches aren't very interesting and fun anymore, and they have in some ways cheapened the brand with their cardboard packaging, but I'm not gonna lie, although she's not really launching singles of her special shades or palettes with her special shades as much anymore, I do really like her shimmery, creamy, metallic formula. I did purchase one of those palettes in the past from like, I don't know, TJ Maxx or Marshalls, and I was very, very impressed by it. So this palette looks like it is the same formula, which means if you are interested in this color story that I would recommend. I do think from this new launch, she might have taken some of the criticism because this palette is no longer cardboard packaging, and even though it's labeled as mega, it's not as huge as her previous mega holiday palettes. It's definitely more compact and easy and practical to travel with, which I really like. It also has a metal case. From what I can see online, I've never touched it, so I'm not too confident, which to me makes it slightly more worth the price tag. Now, the color story is where I have the mixed feelings because there are some fun colors like the pop of blue and the purple and the pink, but then there's also a lot of neutral colors in the palette, and I like having a balance of both. I could see myself using both of them, and I haven't purchased a Pat McGrath palette or product in a very, very long time. I don't know if people's interest about Pat McGrath is still there, so let me know in the comments below if this is a palette you're interested in buying or learning more about. I like that this palette plays it safe, but also there is some fun to it. That is my makeup style, a little bit of both. My main issue is the fact that there are a couple of matte-ish shades thrown in this palette, which I feel like is so unnecessary. Personally, again, it's my opinion. I'm not Pat McGrath. I think that she could have done the palette without these mattes. I would have loved a full commitment shimmer palette, or even just a full commitment neutral matte palette with colors that are not rosy purple mauves. But even though I have mixed feelings about this, the biggest reason why I decided not to purchase it is because it retails for $72. I will not be paying full price for this product. Maybe in the future, if I want to do like a Pat McGrath video, or there's something else she launches that I'm interested in buying, I could buy them together to talk about and create content around. But let me know if you're interested still in Pat McGrath, because my assumption is people aren't really interested in Pat McGrath anymore. I promise this is the last palette launch of this video by Patrick Ta. He has launched 3 different palettes of matte neutrals, which I don't hate. Okay, I do not hate this concept. I really enjoy, and I hate to say it because I know there are so many mixed feelings around Patrick Ta. I don't agree with a lot of their business decisions and the way that they price products and their marketing, etc., etc. So I'm gonna put the brand issues aside and just talk about the product itself. The ultimate reason why I'm not buying this is because I have the matte eyeshadow palette. I know what the formula performs like. The colors look very similar to these new matte palettes, so I feel like I would be buying duplicates. I will say I like that the new palettes are a little bit more travel size, so it's easier to throw in your bag. It's not as clunky. But keep in mind that this formula, unless he decided to upgrade the formula, is very fragile. I have dropped my palette before and the eyeshadow shattered. I had to repress it. It's a pain in the butt because they are super soft, which in a lot of ways is a good thing, especially when it comes to performance, because they're very blendable. They're easy to apply on the eyes. They don't take a lot of work, but they do have a lot of fallout and break very easily. So I don't recommend traveling with it no matter what packaging it's in. I don't think that this package would make it any better, to be honest with you. And then looking a little bit deeper into the 3 palette options, I only really like the last one because there's more depth and differences between the shades. But when you look at the first palette and the second palette, the shades look very similar. The second palette is the one that I guess is made for my skin tone, but that palette looks like something that is filled with more transitional shades than a variety of shades with the depth that could allow me to create all types of looks. Now, the exception is the fact that these might swatch differently and they might swatch deeper on the skin, so there's a chance that the pictures aren't really doing it justice. But either way, there's no reason for me to buy this at all, so it's a pass. The last product that I almost bought but didn't is actually not an eyeshadow palette. It is lip oil, and I have so many feelings about this. It's the Gisou lip oil gloss, whatever you want to call it. It comes in multiple new shades, specifically in tones of beige and brown, and this is just a prime example of waiting for a color story that fits you best, waiting for the perfect color before buying something, because I really want this. I do think that these colors are more flattering on my skin tone. I would get more use out of these colors, but unfortunately I've already bought the last launch of shades, which is the coral and the watermelon sugar. I don't really like the smell of those, and I don't get a lot of use out of them. I bought them for review because the Gisou lip oils were really popular and viral, and I like the formula a lot, but I don't really love the shades or the smell. I did smell the new ones in store, and they don't have a strong scent at all, and they swatched so beautifully, so I was very tempted. But the reason why I'm not buying it is because, again, I have already tried the formula. I know how I feel about it, and I don't really have any content ideas that would surround the Gisou lip oil. Unless you want me to swatch every single one, let me know. But at the end of the day, it is just more of a sheer lip oil gloss in a different color. Let me know if there are any products that you recently added to your cart and deleted for one reason or another. I would love to hear your thought process. Let's have a conversation down in the comments below. Help de-influence or maybe influence each other. If there is a product that's worth buying, we want to know. We want to hear it. If you haven't followed or watched my makeup refresh series, I will link it somewhere around here and down below. As always, thank you all for the love and support, especially those of you who watch every single video. I will catch you in the next one. Bye!